Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Deffinition, and this is the channel where we explain it so you don't have to. This episode we'll be discussing the ending of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina Part 2. Similar to the first season and Christmas special, there's a lot to unpack from the show, and throughout this video I'll be breaking down everything that you need to know about the season and its ending. This is full spoilers ahead, so if you haven't had a chance to watch the show yet and don't want to know what happens, then I highly recommend that you turn off now. With that out of the way, thanks for clicking the video, sit back, relax, and let's break down Chilling Adventures of Sabrina Part 2. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina picks up in the aftermath of the events of Part 1. Harvey and Sabrina are now broken up, and the titular character has a lot to deal with after signing her name in the Book of the Beast. That was a pretty life-changing moment for her that comes full circle by the ending of the second part, and showcases just how much she has lost due to the choices in the first season. This season is all to do with identity, and in the way that she gained a new one at the end of Part 1, she ends up losing it by the end of Part 2. So, what are the big twists and reveals of this season? Well, the first big one centers around Nick Scratch. Ever since his introduction, he's created a pretty big love triangle between Harvey, himself, and Sabrina. This season, Sabrina seemed to fall pretty head over heels for the character, but by the end we learn that Nick is actually a servant of the Dark Lord that was sent to make sure that she submitted to his will. It's a pretty big reveal, but it doesn't mean that Nick is complicit in the whole thing, as it becomes pretty clear that he has feelings for her and he attempts to betray Satan and join her side. Nick has a pretty big role to play going forward, which I'll get into later. Another shocking twist comes when Sabrina learns from Satan himself that her father is not Edward Spellman. Whilst her mother is still Diana, she actually learns that she is the child of the Dark Lord himself, Darth Fate. Sorry, that's the wrong thing, I'm sorry about that. Anyway, all in all, this means that she's not only half human, half witch, she's actually part human, part witch, and part Satan, thus meaning that she is the forebearer of the apocalypse. Pretty shocking stuff, right? Well, while most would probably embrace their dark destiny, Sabrina actually fights against it and vows to take Satan down no matter what it takes. Sabrina attempts to trick Satan by faking a ceremony of submission to him with the help of her aunts. In this, they attempt to imprison Satan, and it appears to work for a brief moment. However, the antagonist escapes, as apparently no prison can hold him. This doesn't stop the group from trying one more trick though, and Madame Satan manages to briefly hold him for a second, which is when Nick steps up and sacrifices himself. Nick realizes that Satan can actually be held in a mortal body and thus allows Satan inside him. He's then laid out unconscious, and Madame Satan takes him to hell, where she takes over the position as Queen of the Domain. Because she finally gets what she wanted, which is to rightfully be the Queen of Hell, Madame Satan restores all of Sabrina's witch abilities and allows her to remain free on the surface world. In the end, she drops the possession over Mary Wardwell and wipes her memory so that she no longer has recollection of the actions that she carried out in Greendale, though it seems she may too be dragged back into the fray later on. In the end though, Sabrina celebrates, though it's clear that she feels like she's lost her entire identity after the reveal of her satanic origins. Add the loss of Nick to this and it becomes apparent that the character can't really class this season as a win. Still, she refuses to be defeated, and in the end the group proclaim that they're going to journey to hell and bring Nick back. Obviously this sets up a lot of possibilities for season 3, and I can definitely see the group journeying to hell to rescue the character, but in the process also having to free Satan once more. The fact that Sabrina now doesn't really have an identity means that she will be eager to prove herself, and I think going ahead she will carve out a persona that is a complete opposite to the one that we saw at the end of season 1. She's been on a huge arc over the past 2 seasons, and I think that going forward she will try and distance herself from some of the decisions that ultimately cost her in the long run. Similar to Prudence and Ambrose, she is now out on a quest for revenge on those who wronged her and is willing to do whatever it takes to get the life that she deserves without any compromises. Overall, I had a lot of fun with part 2, and the show just seems to be getting better and better. Everything slowly feels like it's falling into place, and the creative team seem to be fully adept at dealing with the aesthetic that the show doesn't always need to have a happy ending. I can't wait for part 3, and this is one of the best second seasons that Netflix has put out. Obviously, I'd love to hear your thoughts on part 2 and where you hope the show goes in the future. Comment below and let me know, and if you enjoyed this video then please like it and make sure you check out my full breakdown of Pet Sematary, which will be linked at the end. This is a channel for people who are never missing television, so if that's the kind of thing you like, you need to subscribe to Deffinition. Thanks again for taking the time to watch this. You've been the best, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Peace.